Torah guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah nation. Shalom, 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 Yasharal and Yahudah. The Yahuah of heaven is visiting the earth. The Yahuah of the Shamayim is visiting the earth. Listen, we at it again, right? We ain't no stopping us. Because Yahuah has called me to cry loud and to spare not. He has told me to lift up my voice like a trump in Zion. He told me to lift up my voice like a trumpet in Zion, to warn the people, warn them that they must be established in this witness, warn them that they must have the witness in the heavens and in the earth. I have provided a testimony. In Yahushua HaMashiach, I have sent my word and to the earth, and it became flesh. It is the Son of Yahuah. I have given him the Ruach HaKodesh without measure, and he has exercised it in the earth. Now we who are in him have received the witness in the erects. Yeah, we have received the witness of the Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood, and we are now his. We are children of Yahuah. We belong to Yahuah Zabaoth. We are his army in the erects. And we are called to witness, to declare the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. That's what he's called me to do. Listen, cry loud, spare not, let these people know. Let them know, let them know, let them know. Yahuah, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, I pray that you take the reins of my lips and the reins of my tongue and reign. I pray that I will cause no one to be turned out of the way, no one to stumble, no one to come up lame. Yahuah, I pray right now in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach that the words that I speak unto them would be Ruach and life. You said, from my belly shall flow rivers. I believe in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach that the Ruach HaKodesh flows from me, from my belly. Yahuah, I believe that you give me a word to say. Yahushua said in that hour, don't make a plan, don't prepare, just trust me and I will speak through you. Who will speak through me to your people. To those who have an ear to hear, those that are under the sound of my voice, Yahuah, let them receive the word of Yahuah. And Yahuah, I pray that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Yahuah, my strength and my redeemer. Listen, man of Yah, we listening to my Aki Hezekiah, Yah Freedom's win. 2.5. Listen, I love this Ak. I love this Ak. Can't wait to see this Ak. I tell you what, I can't wait to see this Ak and worship with this Ak. Boy, listen. This prophet of Yahuah, I can't wait. 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 I can't wait to hear this man of Yahuah, this servant Yahuah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, listen. We at this again. We are called. We are the called. Listen, we don't do this for price, no reward. We are the called. We are the called. We are those. We are amongst those who Yahuah has chosen, who he has given his witness to, his Ruach HaKodesh, his water and his blood, and he has called us to declare it. He has called us to declare it, right? He has called us to let our brethren know that they must receive the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. And listen, that's what this is all about. That's what the book of Esdras is about. The book of Ezra, second Ezra. Second Ezra is about Yahuwah's warning his people. But it's about him and letting them know that these are the things that are going to set those apart in Yisrael, right? True Yisrael. Yeah. Because see, Yahuwah has a people, right? He has a people, right? He has a people who he has chosen from amongst the nation to give his name. Oh yeah, he has a people amongst the nations, amongst the heathen, that he has given his name. And then he has a people who are robbed and spoiled, who are going to turn to him in Emunah, in faith in Yahushua HaMashiach, right? And receive his witness, though Unlike their forefathers, they didn't have the prophets. Yeah. Unlike their forefathers, they didn't have the feast days, the Shavuos, the new moons. Yeah, because they was lost. They was robbed and spoiled. The nations became confederate. Yahuah said it was going to happen. He said it in Deuteronomy, 20th chapter, 15 to 16 verse. These things will come upon them. Moshe reminded the people in the 31st chapter that these things was going to happen. They had to serve Yahuah. They had to serve Yahuah under under Yahusha, Joshua. But Yahuah told them these people go whoring after other lures, right? But they had to do it. They had to serve Yahuah. Well, see, listen. Yahuah made it possible to use Mashiach for those who would receive the witness to be of the children of Yasharal and Yahudah, right? Right here, he has grafted some in. To them, it's a new covenant because they have it before. To us, it's just a renewal of what we come to know and understand because we trace the history of our forefathers back in the Sefer, the manuscripts, the Bible. We learned in Enoch, right? Or we learned in Jubilees, the 2nd chapter, right? That he has chosen Yaakov from the foundations of the earth. We understand who we are. We know that we're scattered, right? Through the four corners of the earth. Yahudah was the last one to be scattered through the four corners of the earth. That's who I am. I'm of the nation of Yasharal, but I am of his people because I've received his witness, which has established me as his people, right? So we're in Ezra, right? We're in Ezra, the 4th chapter, right? And we know the 3rd chapter, Ezra began to call into question Yahuah, Ezra being the prophet of Yahuah that was called to carry the word to the children of Israel who rejected and then despised his covenant, right? Right, and 30 years later, or as it says in the 3rd chapter, it was 30 years later, right? Let me see, let's go to that 3rd chapter. He says, in the 30th year after the ruin of the city, which means that the 30 years, it was 30 years that they were in exile after the ruling of the city. And Ezra prophesied to the people, to the nation, right, during the time of the city being ruined and after, right? So here we have a prophet, right, who has been given a word to give to the people. He gave the word to the people, right? They didn't receive the word. They despised him, right? Despised the covenant of Yahuah, right? Of course, the word became fulfilled and they went into exile. But again, this prophecy is not just for them. It's for the people in the latter days. Excuse me. After Yahushua HaMashiach appears, right, that will reject Yahusha, Yah salvation, and will utterly end up scattered and in exile to the four corners of the earth. Right? Yehudah. Yaakov, Yahudah, Gaal. Listen, exiled. His ancestors, his forefathers, right? Right? And Ezra prophesied to the nation, right? But Yahuah said, Yaakov and Yahudah despised the covenant. He was going to give it to the other nations. He was going to code to the other nations. Because the other nations was going to receive his name. Now, I ain't talking about Christianity. No, I ain't talking about Christianity. That's not what I'm talking about. That is not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Jesus. Now, if you have come to understand that this Yahusha this Jesus that they call Jesus, is Yahushua, Yah salvation, right? And you have accepted the fact that this is a melanated brother, right? Right? You know, you've accepted the fact that you identify with, and don't give me that oh well, what does color matter? Color matters because it mattered before, it gonna matter now, right? Right. In the scheme of things, in Yeshua, right? We understand in the witness of Yahuah, right? We understand in the witness of Yahuah, Yahuah is no respecter of person in reference to anything. But see, you have to understand in order to bridge the gap between what was deception and what is reality, truth, you have to accept the fact that Yahushua is that brother, right? You have to accept that he made man from the dust of the earth, from the dirt of the earth, the ground of the earth. Listen, make no mistake about it, dirt and brown is dust, it's dirt, it's brown. You got to accept that. This is not Christianity, right? When he called to the Gentiles, he did that through the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. He did that through Peter and Cornelius. He did that through Apostle Paul as he traveled throughout the other territories, reaching non-Hebrews to the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. They received his name. They received the witness, the Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood. Peter said to Cornelius, to the 7 that came with him, to Cornelius, he says, listen, look, man, brother, Ruach HaKodesh fell upon them just like he did on us. Look, what prevents them from being baptized, right? They're off in the Ruach, speaking in tongues, filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, and in obedience. Now they're gonna go in and be baptized. You don't want to. You want to make excuses for this, right? And Shaul said, listen, you grafted in because Yahuah has said that he was gonna go to the other nations. So you ain't really an olive branch, kind of a wild olive branch, because you've been grafted in. But you're still in. And the only people that's going to have a problem with you being in is those wicked Hebrews. Right? Those wicked Hebrews that want to make the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach exclusive to brown people. You want to make it exclusive to black and brown people. Right? Wrong. That's not what Yahuah said. That's not what he said in Esdras. That's not what he demonstrated in Hamashiach. Yahushua said to the woman that came begging them, she was a Canaanite woman, said, hey, look, Yahushua, have mercy on me, I need you. My daughter was she grievously vexed or was she sick? I think she was vexed or grievously vexed, or she was possessed or something was wrong with her. I can't even remember. You know, whatever you would, she was vexed with the devil. Right? And the disciples says, listen, you this woman, she keep yelling at you. You know, and she ain't one of us. She ain't a Yahudim. She says to himself, he says to her too, listen, woman, what have I to do to you? What have I to do with you? Right? I've come for the lost sheep of Yasharal and Yahudah. Look. I can't give their bread over to the dogs. She says, yes, I realize that I'm a Gentile. I realize that I'm a Canaanite. I realize that I'm a dog. But listen, we still need the crumbs to fall from the master's table. Be it unto you, even as will. Yeah, wait. You got to go to the Gentiles. Because they know that they need Yeshua. And I'm not talking about Christianity. Because this ain't that. This ain't that. I know some of y'all gonna get mad at me, but this ain't that. You cannot be worshiping Yahuah on a Sunday. You can't. You're not his. You can't be worshiping Jesus. This white image, you can't. You're not his, right? You can't teach people that they don't have to keep the law. You're not his, right? Doesn't matter how sweet you become to black people and Asian people, how nice you are, but guess what? Listen, if you ain't received the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, that melanated brother, and turn to faith in Yahushua and keep Yahuwah's law, statutes, and commandments, you none of his. And you ain't keeping his commandments, participating in these Hellenistic, heathenistic things that Yahuwah told us to come out of. He told us to come out of Babylon and be separate. He told the nation, but he told you too. Sitting up here all trapped in all of these Babylonian traditions and religions and entertainment and just totally, listen, you have to be established in this witness. Bro, you got to be established in this witness. Gentiles, you have to be established in this witness. See, again, like I said, I got family members probably think I done lost my mind and I bumped my head. Right. But it's a strong delusion. Listen, only those who receive the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach and recognize who they serve, right, and obey. And listen, I can't understand how you can't get past John 15, John 17. John 15 says, John 15 and 10, he says, in 15:8, herein is my Father glorified, that you bear much fruit, so that ye shall be my disciples. You got to bear fruit, right? He says, as the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Continue in my love, right? Right? Then he says, if you keep my commandments, right? If you keep my commandments, right? You shall abide in my love, even as I have kept the Father's commandments. Listen, if you in Christendom and Christianity, you've been taught that you don't have to keep the commandments. You've been brought up with the idea that all you need to do is abide in grace. No matter how many times you confess, you could be the monster that done executed people and then go to Yahuwah and ask for forgiveness and you're going to turn around and do the same thing over again and be convinced that, you forgive it. What? That's lunacy. That's lunacy. All right. You got to keep the commandments, right? So the people of Yahuwah, right, were allowed to go into captivity because, actually, Yahuwah made them go into captivity because of their rebellion. Ezra was instructed to go to the people and tell them what Yahuwah had said. And he went. And they didn't believe him. They didn't receive him. They continued in their disobedience which of Yahuwah's Torah, which indicates that you really don't love Yahuwah. You despise him. Because you don't keep his Torah. You don't keep his law, statutes, and commandments. Right? So. Let's go. Ezra. So Ezra was on his bed. Right? Contemplating. Self-talk. Been in there for 30 years in captivity. Right? Hasatan said, listen, man. I've been here for 30 years. Israel is better than these heathens. You get into your emotions. You get to thinking in your heart. You get to turning things over. All of a sudden, you get some courage, and you start to question Yahuwah. And then you're going to use the scripts or what you pull out of the scripts to justify the reason of why the nation should not be under the dominion of these heathens. You go try to build a case, right? And in the 4th chapter, right, Yahuah says, okay, I got something for you. I'm going to send Uriel. Right? Uriel is going to give you an answer. Right? So, you know, you go through the whole dialogue with Uriel. Right? Uriel said, listen, you think you can question you? I think you have grounds. You son of Adam. You made from the dust. You the clay in the hands of the potter. You think that you have grounds to question Yahuah's decision making in reference to the captivity of your people. Even though he sent you to carry word to them, and they demonstrated by their response to you that they despise Yahuah. Right, and you really didn't get into your explanation in reference to calling into question the actual covenant, because the actual covenant was specific. The agreement, the contract was specific. If you obeyed Yahuah's law, statutes, and commandments, the things that he had said, and he commanded you this day, then all the blessings would come. But, you know, if you chose not to, then he had a whole list of stuff that was going to happen, right? And, you know, you broke the law. He gave you in Exodus 20 his 10 commandments. You broke them. Broke the first one. I went off deep into this idolatry. Separated yourself from Yahuah, worshiping and bowing down to other elves. Establishing these elves in the temple of Yahuah. Yeah. Offering sacrifices unto these elves. Literally taking your children, your sons and your daughters, and offering them up to elves. Who told you not to do that, right? Right? Because, you know, you was chosen people. You were the people that was called to set the standard. Yeah. See, because you kept Yahuah's standard, his statutes, his commandments, the things that he said and instructed for you to do, right? You was above and not beneath. You were over, not under. Your enemies that came out against thee one way, flee before thee 7 ways. You had this Philistine Goliath, and I had a servant in David, and he came and slew Goliath with a smooth stone and a slingshot and cut his head off, right? Because I anointed him. He had might. He had. But you know, you want to think that it's okay. You know, you think you should be entitled to special privileges, even though you violated the covenant. You violated the Torah. You didn't mention Shlomo. No, you didn't mention Shlomo. You didn't mention the flourishing time, and then the reason why the nation started to plummet. You didn't mention that. You didn't get off in that, but you highlighted the things that you thought would help support your argument, right? Why the nation shouldn't be under the subjection of these other nations. You built a case that had holes in it, right? Because you chose specific things that would support your argument. So the angel, you know, he gave him a few questions. Told him to answer. You know, he couldn't answer. Right? Gave him a few questions. Couldn't answer. How can I answer that? I'm not Yahuah. Yahuah knows those things. I'm just a man. I'm a mere man. Right? He gave him another scenario. Right? the earth wanted to take over the sea, and the sea wanted to take over the earth. And he said, you know, what do you have to say about that? He said, well, I think they both, Esdras said, I think they both crazy. He said, they both are trying to, what did he say? Matter of fact, let's go right there, because that's going to take us right into where we need to go. Where, 20, he says, let's do this. He said, and come, let us go. No, that's a bit, I don't want to go that far out. I'm going to go to the point where he answers, because the question had to do with the woods taking over the sea, and the sea wanting to take over the woods, right? They wanted to operate outside of their scope, right? He says in the explanation, right? Then answered he me and said, I answered and said, verily, it is a foolish thought, right? That they both have devised, right? It's foolish. Both of them. Both of them trying to do what both of them can't do. Right? Foolish, right? He says they're foolish. For verily, though they both have, verily it is a foolish thought that they both have devised. For the ground is given unto the woods, and the sea also haveth this place to bear his floods. Right? Then answered he me and said, thou hast given a right judgment. Right? But why judgest not thyself also? Because you know, Esdras trying to lay down this argument that, you know, Israel, you know, though she sinned, she doesn't deserve to be at the hands of these wicked heathens. She's been there for 30 years. She don't deserve that. Right? You know, he said, I've been watching these other nations for the last 30 years, and how they mistreat your people and how they do your people wickedly. Right? And you know, these heathens are wicked. Surely your people don't deserve that. Right? Because your people are the only people that, you know, really has ever served you. Your people is the only one amongst Israel where the name of Yahuah is named. Your people are the only ones that have ever kept your covenant. Surely you can understand this. That's what the angel said. Listen, right? The wickedness of the Gentiles is the wickedness of the Gentiles. The wickedness of the earth is the wickedness of the earth. They're both devised wickedness. Neither one is better than the other. Now, the nation of Israel was on top. As long as they obeyed my laws, statutes, and commandments, they would have never had to experience my judgment. But because they were wicked, and you know they were wicked, Ezra, because, you know, I sent you to go talk to them, to share this word, the testimony, chapter 1 and chapter 2, to share it. But they didn't want to hear it. Because they didn't want to hear it. Yahuah said he's going to the Gentiles, the other nations. It's prophetic. Yahushua Mashiach is that name that he's given to the nations. He's going to give them their name, his name. Yah salvation. Yahusha, he gave the other nations his name. Again, I ain't talking about Christianity. I ain't talking about Christian insanity. No, because they do things and they say in the name of Jesus, is sheer downright wickedness. Listen, they took us in slavery on the good ship Jesus. That's wickedness. We was raped on that ship. We were thrown overboard from that ship. I tell you, man, you better know what you're in. You better understand. You better understand. That was wickedness. Right? That's that tentacles that has went throughout the four corners of the earth in wickedness. It was a wicked thing for Constantine to determine that the Shabbat should be on Sunday, because it was far more advantageous to the Roman gods. Sunday. We can all just hodgepodge together. Put everything up, and I'll be the head of the church. Rome will be the head of the church. We're going to run things the way we want to run things. We ain't going to run them like them Yahudims. Because we got our own L's too. We ain't going to run them like the Yahudims. We got our own L's. Better understand what you in. Because this ain't that. Yahuah, Yahusha. This ain't that. He said, listen. He says, seeing that you can understand this, and you answered right, how can you not judge yourself? How can't you see what you're requesting is as wicked and as wrong as the Gentiles? How come you can't see that the nation of Yasharal is in the predicament it's in because of their wickedness? Yahuah does not elevate a person in wickedness. So yes, you suffering, your nation is suffering, but you already know why. Right? He said, listen. For like as the ground is given unto the woods, and the sea to its floods, right? Even so they that dwell upon the earth may understand nothing, right? But that which is upon the earth. There's things that Yahuah is going to do that you ain't going to remotely understand. You don't understand it, because you, from the dust, from the dirt, you were formed from him, right? And you don't have the Ruach unless he gives it to you, right? You ain't like Adam and Havah before they fell, right? No. You Adam, you the son of Adam, right? That fallen Adam, right? He says, you ain't gonna understand nothing but that which is upon the earth. And he that dwelleth above the heavens may only understand the things that are above the heights of the Shamayim. So, Yahuah has reserved understanding of what is done in the Shamayim to those who are in the Shamayim. Right? And more specifically, Yahuah Lua. Because, you know, it is he who tells everybody else what they gonna do. Then answered I and said, I beg thee, O Adonai, let me have understanding. Let me have understanding. Let me have understanding. He says here, he says, for it was not my mind to be curious of the high things. I wasn't trying to elevate myself to a place above my position in the arrets, and in order to gain information that way. He says, but of such as pass by us daily. Namely, wherefore Israel is given up as a reproach to the heathen. And for what cause the people whom thou hast loved is given over unto ungodly nations. He says, excuse me, all I want to know is why this has happened to our people. But Ezra, in your argument, you demonstrated a knowledge of why your people are in the predicament they're in. You were given a word from Yahuah to give to the people, to help the people to understand what's going to happen because they forgot, they turned their backs, they despised Yahuah's covenant. Right? Right? He says, and for what cause the people whom thou lovest is given to an ungodly nation, right? And why the Torah of our forefather is brought to naught. You broke the covenant. You ceased from keeping Torah. And the written covenant is come to not effect. You know, I appreciate Yahuah's Ruach HaKodesh. You know, I really do, because, you know, I understand from a different perspective than Ezra understood. Because I have Yahuah's Ruach HaKodesh. I have the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom and understanding, Ruach of counsel, might, Ruach of knowledge and fear of Yahuah, because that's the Ruach HaKodesh which he's given to me, right? Right? And I operate in it and I can see, because the Ruach HaKodesh is truth. And see, the Ruach HaKodesh of truth will bear witness to the truth. Right? Yeah, I'm not going to call into question why Yahuah is doing a thing, because in the Ruach HaKodesh, I know that Yahuah is doing what he's doing because Yahuah works it together for his good. I also understand why our people are in the position they are in, because they have not received Yahuah's Ruach HaKodesh. They still are seeking Yahuah, right, without having turned, right? And turning is turning in to Yahuah, turning to Yahuah and accepting that name that he's given unto men, Yahushua HaMashiach, right? You got to accept that witness in order to be established as his people, right? But the Ruach HaKodesh is me understanding with clear eyes this, right? Oh yeah, I understand it with clear eyes, you know? But Ezra still is in his heart and his feelings, right? 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 He's not in the Torah of Yahuah. He's not in it with the Ruach of understanding, right? Right? He's not in it with the Ruach of understanding, because he says, for it was not my mind to be curious of the high things, right? But yet you wanted an answer, right? An answer from Yahuah, right? Right? But of such as pass by us daily, right? You want an answer of Yahuah concerning why your people are in the predicament they are in and why they continue to suffer at the hands of their enemies, these other nations, right? That were not called of Yahuah, right? These nations that were confederate, who were successful at concealing the identity of the people of Yahuah. They had conspired, had a confederate, right? Why, Yahuah, is this happening? Well, see, the Ruach HaKodesh of truth would bring me right back to Torah. The Ruach HaKodesh of truth will take me right back to what Yahuah said concerning my ancestors. Because the Ruach would bear witness with what Yahuah's word has said. Right? I would understand, because by virtue of the fact that he called me to prophesy to this nation of mine and have them refuse and reject it, would bring clarity to the judgment that Yahuah said it was going to come. And it came. Not once, but twice. He gonna give it to a people. He said he gonna give the house to a people who didn't know him, that was robbed and spoiled. He's gonna give the house to a people who were forsaken, who their enemies hid their identities from them. But they're gonna come to themselves. But they're going to understand that they got to come through faith in Yahushua HaMashiach. They can't come back to him like their fathers did, because, you know, that method's decayed, faded away. He said that concerning Eli. He said, listen, this priesthood is not going to continue, because this priesthood was wicked, right? He had to have a way. He had to have a way. Yahushua was that way. He was that Torah. He was that Torah that Yahuah made flesh. He was the word in the Shamayim, along with Abba and the Ruach HaKodesh, that witnessed, that testified to the witness in the Eretz. Yahushua. Right? The Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood. Because the Ruach HaKodesh is the witness. The water and the blood are the witness, right? Those are the things that witness to your Yeshua. And it's the Father, the Word Yahushua, and the Ruach HaKodesh in the Shamayim that brought it all to pass. He says here. He says, even so they that dwell upon the earth, Eretz, may understand nothing. Even so, they that dwell upon the Eretz may understand nothing. But that which is upon the earth, right, is upon the earth, and he that dwelleth above the heavens may only understand that was of the better. And this is what I want to go down to 23. For it was not my curiosity, it was not mine to become. It was not in, it was, see, this is, this is that 1611 edition that throws me off sometimes. So I'm going to go from here. Verse 23. He says, for it was not my mind to be curious of the high things, but of such as pass by us daily, namely, wherefore Yasharal is given up as a reproach to the heathens in the land of their captivities. In Babylon, we're a reproach to the heathen. We're a reproach to the heathen. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. He said we're a reproach. A reproach. Address someone in such a way as to express disapproval or disappointment. A reproach. That's the verb, right? To accuse someone. Reproach. Right? Right? It says a verb, the verb or synonym is to have, express a poor opinion. To have or to express a poor opinion. to dislike, to be against, object to find unacceptable. This is the Hebrew in America. This is the Hebrew in the lands that we've been scattered to. He says, and Yahuah told them in Deuteronomy that they were going to be a reproach. Esdras. Have expressed a poor opinion of. Yeah, they have a poor opinion of us, man. Listen, they made movies that reflect their opinion of us. They established theories concerning us as a people that expressed a poor opinion of us, right? Right? We are disliked. They are against us. They object to us. They object to us. Find us unacceptable. Right? They think wrong about us. They take exception to us. They don't believe in us. They don't support us. They frown on us. They take a dim view of us. These are synonyms, right? Look to be dissatisfied with us. They displease us. They hostile towards us, right? And then they turn around and say we hostile towards them, right? Detested, deplored, despised, loathed, criticized, blamed, condemned, denounced, rebuked, reproach. He says, you've given up as a reproach to the heathen, Israel. Right? And for what cause the people whom thou lovest, whom thou hast loved, is given over to ungodly nations. Right? Yahuah gave them over to the ungodly nations. And then he's yet going to choose amongst the ungodly nations those who's going to receive his witness. Y'all salvation, Yahushua HaMashiach, and we grafted in. And you going to get mad, but you are the reason why you're in the predicament you're in. And Yahuwah's going to make you have to understand that you have to have the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach too. See, he loves his people. Yaakov's name is written in the Shamayim to this day. I'm written. I've received the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. My name is written. Right? But the nation, amongst the nation of Yaakov, there are those that are names that are written in Yahuwah's, in the Shamayim. He says, I just don't understand why. He says, why the Torah of our forefathers is brought to naught. Why is our forefathers, in this predicament? They had the Torah. You're so beautiful and wonderful. You're awesome. I praise you for the Ruach HaKodesh. I praise you for the witness. I thank you for the Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood. I thank you that my eyes can see. Ezra couldn't even see. Right? He says, and the written covenant has come to none effect. Why this covenant don't work? Because he broke it. You wouldn't break it. They broke it. They broke the contract. Yahuah just executed the consequences of the breaking of the contract. Do we love him? Yeah. But you broke the contract. See, that's why. If Yahuah brought judgment on the nation because they didn't keep his Torah, right? Brought judgment on the nation. We in the predicament we were in because of our forefathers' failure to keep the Torah, to keep Yahushua's witness, actually, the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, and obey Torah. And because once Yahushua had came, the requirement was to serve Yahuah through faith in Yahushua HaMashiach's witness and to keep the Torah. Right? But they failed to do that because of their failure to comply. Right? We went into captivity. Right? How much more is Yahuah's judgment going to fall on you who have tasted of the heavenly calling and have tasted of the world to come, having received the Ruach HaKodesh and turned away? There's no more sacrifice left. You can't come up with another sacrifice to replace what Yahushua has done for you. There's nothing left for you but judgment reserved. That's why they wanted you to believe that you need to keep the Torah, because it's just a self-imposed judgment. That's why they wanted you to believe that you didn't have to keep the law. Right? You have Yahushua Mashiach. When Yahushua Mashiach himself said, keep the Torah. Keep the commandments. You're talking to Yahudim. Keep the commandments. Because you don't believe it. How you going to be established? How you going to be saved? How you going to experience Yeshua? How you going to have Yeshua? Salvation. He says, verse 24. And we passed away out of the world as grasshoppers, right? For our life is an astonishment and fear. It's Deuteronomy. Yahuwah said it's going to happen. He said, I'll make you an astonishment. I'll make you a byword. Listen. Let's reestablish, right? Let's reestablish, right? Let's reestablish. Deuteronomy, yeah, but that's, let me see. Let's do this. Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28, verse 15. No, let's go. I'm not fast. Stop going fast. Deuteronomy, man, I'm telling you, it goes on and on and on and on. Deuteronomy 15. And it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahuah thy Elohah, right? Thereby breaking his commandment, his covenant, right? To observe to do all his commandments, his statutes, which I command thee this day, right? Ezra, these things, these shall befall you. These curses, right? These curses shall befall you. Right? These curses right? No, that's not right. I spelled that wrong. I spelled that wrong. These, oh no, hold on. Keep spelling the word wrong. Keep spelling the word wrong. You thinking I know how to spell the word right. These curses, right? So when we look at the word cursed, it's an adjective, right? It's used to express annoyance or irritation, right? Right? Annoyance or irritation, which is really not as severe interpretation of the word as Yahuah would consider it, right? Because in Hebrew, right? In Hebrew, the word cursed is
Strong's H779. Arer.
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 Arer. And it says to curse, curse be he. To curse, it says to lay under a curse, to put a curse on, right? It doesn't, a curse is to abhor, to detest, to abhor, to attest, right? Right? The synonyms to the word cursed is damned, doomed, right? Ill-fated, right? Ill-fated, ill-starred, star-crossed, excommunicado, excommunicated, right? Cut it out, right? To be cursed, to curse, Yahuah curse, to excommunicado, to damn, to hex. Yahuah, right, because of the nations breaking of his contract, right, established consequences that were going to be a natural part of what they would suffer because of their failure to keep covenant, right? He says, curse shall be in the city, curse shall not be in the field, curse shall be thy basket and thy store, curse shall be the fruit of thy body, the fruit of thy land, the fruit, the increase of thy kind, the flocks of thy sheep. Curse shall thou be when thou comest in, curse shall thou be when thou goest out. And Yahuah shall send upon thee cursings and vexations and rebuke in all that thou settest thine hand unto do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me, because of your wickedness of your doing, wherewith you have forsaken me, right? You forsook Yahuah, right? You forsook Yahuah, right? You deserted Yahuah's Torah. You abandoned Yahuah's Torah. You left, you quit Yahuah's Torah. You left behind Yahuah's Torah. You turned your back on the covenant, the Torah, the commandments, right? You casted it aside. You gave it up. You rejected it. You threw over. Right? That's what you did, right, Ezra? This is what your people did, right, in relationship to the covenant, right? He says, he is going to do this till thou is destroyed, until thou perish quickly, right? Yes, your people are going to perish quickly because of the failure to have kept Yahuwah's covenant. Now, the failure to have received the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach continued the covenant's executive order because, right, Yahushua came to renew, to reestablish a covenant that would allow the people of Yahuwah to be returned back to him, to re-identify as his people through faith in the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, having received the word, the Torah made flesh, right? And had received the blood that was for the atonement of their sins, having been baptized, right, with water and the Ruach HaKodesh, right? But because they didn't, right, they were outside of the covenant, right? They were outside of the covenant, outside of the agreement. The covenant was renewed, reestablished, right? And it became a new covenant to the other nations because they ain't have it. But see, it was a renewal thing for us. And the renewal aspect of it was because in order for us to be restored, we had to have a sacrifice. Yashua and Yehuda. We had to have sacrifice. We had to have a lamb. We had to have a high priest that restored us as a nation. He says, of thy doing whereby thou hast forsaken me. You became wicked. You became the idolater. You committed spiritual whoredom. You committed spiritual idolatry. Right? You did it. Right? And because you did, you were forsaken. And Yahuwah shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until thou be consumed. From off the land where thou goest to possess it. Wherever you go to possess a land, Yahuwah is going to cause you to have pestilence follow. They going to cleave to you. Man, what's a pestilence? Well, what's pestilence, right?
Strong's H, 1698. Dever.
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 Plagues. Plagues followed us. Listen, we couldn't go because we rejected Yahushua HaMashiach's witness. We rejected continuing in Torah, and everywhere we went to possess a place to live, to dwell, there were plagues. He followed us. Followed us. Spain and Portugal. Plagues followed us. Now the nations that we went to, plagues followed us. Right? He says, Adonai shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he has consumed thee from off the land, whither thou goest to possess. Yeah, they gonna herd you into ghettos. The Negroes. Spain and Portugal, the Hebrews. The Yayas. The descendants of Dawid. The nation. It's the tribe of Yahuah. He says, and Yahuah shall smite thee with the consumption, with the fever, and with the inflammation, with extreme burning, and with the sword, with the blasting, and with the mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. Wow. That's what it's like. I'm laying on my bed, and 30 years later, and I see all of this wickedness and all this stuff happening to the nation. See the suffering of the people. And I see these wicked heathens. They doing the same things that we did. But yet they lord it over us. Right? 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 Yet we are a byword. We have been brought to naught. Right? We pass away out of the world as grasshoppers. Ezra 4:25 or 24. And our life is an astonishment and fear. And we are not worthy to obtain mercy. Yahuah told Ezra, as he prophesied, told him to prophesy to the people the thing that he had said, and he told them, you know, he wasn't going to have mercy on them. He said, you're going to be an astonishment. You'll be an astonishment. He says, and thy heavens that are over thy heads shall be brass, and the earth that is under thy feet shall be iron. See, because, you know, we were agriculture people. And we were the people who, you know, we relied on agriculture. We relied on herding and cattle and sheep and oxen. And, you know. He said he's going to make it brass. Iron under our feet. He said, and Yahuah, Deuteronomy 28:24, shall make the rain over you, and Yahuah shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust from heaven. It shall come down upon thee till thou be destroyed. He says, Yahuah shall cause thine enemies, Yahuah shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies, and thou shalt go out one way, and against them and flee 7 ways. You're going to go running from them. Slave patrols. Go running from them. Running scattered, running from them. Right? 7 ways. And shall be removed into every kingdom of the Eretz. We in every land, every kingdom. And thy carcasses shall be meat unto all the fowls of the air and the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. These wicked heathens are going to slaughter you and let you be eaten. Your bones be picked. Gators. Ain't nobody gonna stop them. That's why, you know, you where you at, Ezra. That's why your people where they at, Ezra. That's why our people are where they at in the Americas. That's why the people are where they at in Mexico, in the Dominican, in Argentina, these other lands, these other territories, Spain, France, Britain, London. He says, And Yahuah will smite thee with the botch of Egypt. You're going to come down with stuff that they had in Egypt. And the emerods, which are the hemorrhoids. And with the scab and with the itch whereof thou canst not be healed. And Yahuah shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. Right? So Esdras said, right? And we pass away out of the world as grasshoppers, and our life is an astonishment and fear. He says, and we are not worthy to obtain mercy. Right? I'm telling you, all he had to do was look in Deuteronomy. He says, Yahuah says that thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth for darkness. Thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. See, ain't nobody gonna get you out of this. No man. Martin, Malcolm, right? No man. No one gonna get you out of this. He said, thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with them. Yeah, they took our wives and lied with them. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell in it. Thou shalt plant vineyards, and shalt not eat the grapes thereof. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from thy face, and shall not be restored. Thy sheep shall be given to thine enemies, and thou shalt have no rescue. Right? Ezra. You get the point. Ezra. Called to prophesy to the nation. Called to deliver the word of Yahuah to the nation. Did what he was instructed to do, and the nation had him at naught and despised the covenant. And he says, right, what will he then do unto his name? Right? Whereby we are called. Of these things have I asked. We are called after his name. We are his namesake. We are Yaakov. We are Yahudah. We are his namesake. And yet we are in captivity. Yet we are in astonishment. Yes, we pass away like the grasshoppers. Yet we are robbed and spoiled or in confusion. We groping at noonday as man gropes in darkness. Why is these things happening to the nation? He says, then answered he me and said, the more thou searchest, the more thou shalt marvel. Right? For the world hastens fast to pass away. See. You're going to constantly be in astonishment. You know, you're going to constantly be in astonishment, right? He says, 26. Then answered he me and said, the more you search, the more thou shalt marvel. Right? For this world is full of marvel, for the world hastens fast to pass away. Listen. Understand this, right? This world has to pass away. Yahuah has to bring forth a new heaven and a new earth. He has to, because this one has to die. This one has been violated with sin. And see, the wages of sin is death. This world has to pass away. Right? Right? See, they think, right? They think they're going to be able to leave this world and go somewhere else. That's why they want to plan for an exodus. An exodus from the earth. Right? And we got to get away from the earth. Because we burnt up all the resources here. You know, the earth is slowly dying, global warming. They call it global warming, but it's Yahuah's judgment. Right? It's the wages, it's the consequences of sin. Right? Consequences of sin. So this one just going to be destruction. It's going to be mass destruction. Right? Right? But we the people of Yahuah. Yahuah has reserved for us a place of protection. Right? But the earth passed away. We understand that this is not going to be around forever. That's why I said, I saw I see the new Shamaim and the new Eretz. See, and Yahuah has a people for this place. He ain't letting none of these wicked, diabolical people on this place. That's why, you know what, even in Yisrael, you have to understand that you have to be a part of the witness of Yahushua Mashiach to be spared, to be delivered, to be a recipient of this kingdom. Right? Right? Because the rest of this stuff's going to pass away. All of this stuff that we see here, this is going to be gone. It's going to be a new heaven and a new Eretz. But even before then, he's going to call his people away. Okay? He's going to establish a place for us in the mayhem. Because, they're going to continue to take the world into the ground. And they literally putting bunkers in the ground in order to protect themselves. Like getting escape. What do you do with an earthquake? What do you do when the foundation starts to crack and come apart? And that container that you in all of a sudden starts to contract and squeeze. He says, verse 27, he says, and cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in times to come. For this world is full of unrighteousness and infirmity. You ain't going to comprehend. You can't comprehend this. What Yahuah has established the plan, the redemptive plan to establish a people to take out from amongst these wicked. Listen, if you have received the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, right? You have the water, the blood, and the Ruach HaKodesh. Listen, let me help you understand something. You blessed. You the chosen. You the chosen. All you got to do is, through faith and patience, inherit the promise. All you have to do is endure to the end. All you have to do is be renewed in the Ruach of your mind. Be renewed in the spirit. Be renewed. Transform the way you think. Stay in the Basor and the Torah of truth. Be led by the Ruach HaKodesh, because you are a chosen generation. You are a royal priesthood. Right? Chosen. Royal. He says, can't comprehend the things. Literally. You can't comprehend them. Can't comprehend them. He says, cannot comprehend the things that are promised. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Ephesians 1:13. Again, we're going to always come back to this. In whom ye also trusted, after that ye heard the word of truth, right? The word, Yahushua HaMashiach's witness. The Besorah of your Yeshua, right? The word that brought your Yeshua, your salvation, right? And whom also after that ye believed, right? He told Ezra, you know, amongst the other nation who believed, he was going to give his name, right? He said concerning those who did not know him, who were robbed and spoiled, who came to know him, they would believe on him, not having the prophets, because all of that was taken away from him, right? He says, you were sealed. Ye were sealed with the Ruach HaKodesh of promise. Right? He says here in Ezra, he says, and cannot comprehend the things that are promised. Yeah, Ezra couldn't comprehend it. Because Ezra didn't have Yahuwah's Ruach HaKodesh. Right? See, but Yahuwah made provisions for us. That's why he was telling Ezra. He was prophetically revealing truth to Ezra to reveal to the people. But Ezra didn't catch it, and the people definitely didn't catch it because they didn't want to hear it. He says, in Ezra, the 2nd chapter, he goes on to talk about how he said, I brought this people, first verse, the 2nd Ezra, the first verse, 2nd Ezra, 2nd chapter. Thus saith Yahuwah, I brought this people out of bondage, and I gave them my covenant, my commandments, and my servants, the prophets, right, of which Ezra you are, right, whom they would not hear. And they despised my counsel, right, It was a mother, her children. They were robbed and spoiled, right? Verse 6, he says, that bring, verse 5, I'm sorry. As for me, O Father, I call upon thee for a witness over the mother of these children, which kept not the covenant. Right? The covenant. This is prophetic now. You know, this is prophetic. This is Yahushua declaring to Yahuwah in reference to the word that he brought to the children of Yisrael. And during his time, they will receive it. Right? He said, would not keep my covenant. Right? That thou bringest them into confusion and their mother to a spoil, that there be no offspring in them. Got it, yeah. He said, let them be scattered among the heathen. This happened in Ezra time, but this happened after Yahushua HaMashiach. Right? And let their name be put out of the Eretz. Let's cut them off from being a people, that the name of Israel be no more. He says here, thus saith unto Ezra, tell my people, verse 10, I will give them, tell my people, we understand who his people are, those who have believed him in Emunah, having received the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. Tell my people, I will give them the kingdom of Jerusalem, which I would have given unto Israel. Right? Come on, we know where we going with that, because in the first chapter, he says concerning Yaakov, in the 24th verse of the first chapter, what shall I do unto thee, O Yaakov? Thou, Yahudah, wouldest not obey me. You broke the covenant. You forsook the covenant. Right? Right? You forsook Yahushua HaMashiach's witness. The nation. Now, he came to his own, and his own received him not, but as many as received him, to them he gave power to be the sons of Yahuah, even them to believe on his name. Of course, there came out a remnant. Right? There was a remnant that came out, but the people at large that did receive it and reigned in Jerusalem, because they didn't take the word of Yahushua and said, listen, you need to flee when you see these things coming. But they, but who was they? Give us Barabbas. Let his blood be in our hands and our children's hands. Right? These people were scattered. Right? Yahuah says, I will turn to me all other nations. I will turn me to the other nations. Right? And then unto those will I give my name. Yahushua. That name. On which every knee shall bow and every tongue shall swear. He'll give it to them. Right? Right? I'll give them the name. Right? He says here, what was that? 24. Oh, yeah. And they shall keep my statutes. Why? They don't keep my statutes. Now listen. No, we still got to go down. Right? Because he also says here, your house will I give to a people. A people. Right? That shall come. People that shall come. Which having not heard of me. Because you've been robbed at this point. The name of Yisrael has been cut off from you. You don't even know what it looks like. You thought it looked like Christianity. Right? You thought it was Christianity. Right? You was robbed and spoiled. Excuse me. He made you think whatever he wanted you to think when it came to religion. Yeah, you was a Gentile. Right? Slaves, obey your masters. Right? They established a Bible with your name on it just for you, and they took out all the pertinent stuff. Catholic Church says, look, we got to get rid of stuff, because this stuff points to who these people are, and we can't have them. He says, your house will I give to a people that shall come, which having not heard of me, yet shall they believe me. That's me. Yeah, I know I'm Yehudah now, but that's me. But I didn't know I was Yehudah. Yet shall believe me, to whom I have showed no signs. I ain't like my fathers. I didn't have the prophets. I didn't have the feast days. I didn't have the Shabbaths. Listen, our people were still at the time of Yahushua HaMashiach practicing the Shabbaths, the feast, and all of that. They were taken away until actually we was taken out of slavery. We was taken from Jerusalem. They destroyed the temple and everything was seized by Rome and is in the Vatican to this day. Right? Listen. The only people, right? He says here, I have showed no signs. We ain't see no signs. The only sign that was given, that was left, was the giving of Jonah, right? Of Hamashiach, and of those who Yahuah would pour out his Ruach HaKodesh on. You gotta understand what you gotta understand. You gotta understand this. You gotta understand this. He says, listen, he says, I have shown no signs, yet they shall do that I have commanded. They will keep my commandments. You said, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments as I have kept the Father's commandments. He says, and these have seen no. We ain't seen no prophets. We haven't seen no prophets. Yet shall they call their sins to remembrance and acknowledge them. That's us. That's us who are robbed and spoiled. Listen, the Gentiles have no need to call to remembrance a prophet, because they ain't had none. The Gentiles didn't have a need to not know who he was, because they didn't know who he was. See, we had a covenant, a contract. Our ancestors did. See, and Ezra knew that. Ezra was a prophet. He was still speaking to the people, along with the minor prophets. Right? He was still speaking to the people. Yahuah already knew that he was going to deliver these people in 70 years. Right? They still got another 30 years to go, another 30 plus years. Right? But they were going to be delivered. But Yahuah was setting things in motion for us, for our time. That's the 4th chapter. You gotta get a clue, man. You gotta get this clue. You gotta get this. Gotta get this. Right, gotta get this. He says, let me see. He says, and cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in the times to come. He was given us earnest. He sealed us with the covenant of promise. In whom also after that you believe you were sealed with the Ruach HaKodesh of promise, right? Which is the earnest of our inheritance until the redemption of the purchased possession unto the praise of his glory, right? You have received a greatness. He says, listen, the eyes of, he said, no, let me go, glory. Wherefore I also, after I heard of your emunah in Adonai Yahushua and the love unto all the saints, verse 15 of that first chapter of Ephesians, 16, cease not to give thanks for you, making mention of you in my prayers, that the Yahuah of our Adonai Yahushua Hamashiach, the Abba of glory, may give unto you the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom and revelation in the knowledge of him, that the eyes of your understanding being enlightened, that ye may know what is the hope of your calling, and what the riches of the glory of the inheritance are in the saints, right? And what the exceeding greatness of his power to usward who believe. Listen, Ezra didn't have this. We who have received the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach have this, right? Ezra didn't know. He didn't comprehend the promise of the righteousness of the times to come. For this world is full of unrighteousness and infirmities. But see, we who were dead have been made alive and delivered from this world. We have the earnest of Yahuah's Ruach in us, which delivers us from this world. Yes, we're in this world, but we're not of this world. We were of this world when we were dead in our trespasses and sins, but now we're in this world, but we're not of this world because he has removed us, having placed in us his Ruach HaKodesh, the earnest of the inheritance, which causes us to shine as lights in darkness. It gives us what we need to get the job done to bring the knowledge of the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach to a people. To a people. The people that Yahuah has chosen. And that is Yahshua Yehudah, but that is also of the other nations. Yahuah has a promise, man. Yahuah has a promise. He's provided that promise. He says, listen. But as concerning the things to come, thou ask me, I will tell thee, for the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come. Why is the evil sown? Because Adam gave way for the evil that was sown when he violated Yahuah's Torah, and sin passed on all the earth, giving Hasatan and demons and devils the opportunity to derive this world into darkness. We were once in darkness. Everything that's not in Yahushua HaMashiach is in darkness. Everything that is not in the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach is in darkness. I don't care if you Christians. I don't care if you Muslims. I don't care if you're Hindus. It doesn't matter. If you have not received the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, you are in darkness. You are yet in your sins. He says, if therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down. You got to flip it over. Right? It's like soil, the seed. You got to flip it over. You can't leave it the way it is. You got to turn it over. You know, I'm learning so much about planting, you know, and gardening. You know what I mean? I'm still quite the novice, but I understand you got to break the ground up. You got to turn it over. You know, you got to turn it over. You got to turn it over. And then you got to enrich it. You got to turn it over and enrich it. Right? Because you can't let it go on planting the same thing over and over again, because it's going to draw all the nutrients away from each time you use that soil. You got to put compost in it. You got to put some of that soil and some of that stuff to rejuvenate the ground. Gotta turn it over. He says, if therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the places where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good. See, this thing had to play out, man. Ezra, this had to play out. Yahuah has to be able to separate the wheat from the tare. Abba has to take every branch in Yahushua that beareth not fruit, take it away. Have it to be gathered and to be burned. There's a reason to this, Ezra. Now, see, you still on that earth level, right? that level that's looking at what he sees. He sees his nation. You see them suffering. A people that are named after the name of Yahuah. But they're still suffering, and so the other nations are growing and prospering and being blessed and getting all the millions and the trillions and becoming billionaires and all this, right? And your people still suffering, relying on food stamps, trying to hustle all the time, right? This world has to come to, this world has to do this. This has to finish its course. It has to finish. It has to finish its direction. It has to finish its course. It has to finish. Right? It has to. Right? He says, if therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown in good. We're the seed sown in good. Enoch, the 93rd chapter. And after that, in the 6th week, all those who are in it shall be darkened. That's what the angel was telling Ezra. This course has to occur. After Yahushua HaMashiach, right? It's going to be darkness. It's going to be darkness. He said, oh, matter of fact, let's go back to the 9th verse. He says, subsequently in the 4th week, during its completion, the vision of the holy and the righteous shall be seen, the order of generations after generations, and an habitation shall be made for them. Right? The habitation shall be made for them. That's the 12 tribes. That's the establishment, right? The 12 tribes, right? Right? Shlomo had made the house, right? The temple, right? He said, then in the 5th week, another whole phase of time, during the end, right? The house of glory and dominion shall be erected forever. Not the literal house, but Yahushua's Mashiach's witness, right? His witness, his house, his witness. Right. 34. Is it 34? Right? He says, in your houses will I give to a people that shall come, which having not heard of me, yet shall they believe, of whom I have showed no signs, yet they shall do that which I have commanded them. Right? They are going to receive houses, right? But you have to understand, Yahushua is that house. He is the establishment of the way, right? He brings the way, right? He says, and after that, in the 6th week, all those that are in it shall be darkened. Right? They ain't gonna they ain't going to receive him. But as many as did receive him, gave you power to be the sons of the Lord. But they ain't going to receive him because it's going to become darkened. See, what we see now is just darkening. This is darkening, right? And all those that shall be in it darkened, and the hearts of all of them shall be forgetful of wisdom. See, that's the consequences of sin and not having received the witness and having turned your back on the witness. Listen, it was going to become darkened, right? The whole earth, right? He says, and it shall be darkened, the hearts of all them shall be forgetful of wisdom, and it shall a man arise and come forth, and during his completion he shall burn the house of dominion with fire, and the race of the elect root shall be dispersed. The nation became dark. He says in verse 12, and afterward in the 7th week a perverse generation shall arise. Perverse. Pornonia. And abundant shall be its wicked deeds. Legalizing these alphabet people. They're making it legal. You know. People want to change their natural allure given gender. And all the deeds perverse, and during the completion the righteous shall be selected from an everlasting plan of righteousness. That's us. We're being selected from an everlasting plan of righteousness. Yahushua is that plan. He is divine. And we are the branches. Every branch in him that beareth not fruit, the Father cuts away. And then gather them up to be burned. Right? He says, but as concerning the things whereof thou wouldst ask, I tell thee, for an evil is sown, and destruction thereof is not yet come. It's here now. Right? If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown for good. We're going to stop there. Ezra, the 4th chapter. We ended at the 30th verse. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, called to greatness, woman of Yahuah, beautifully and wonderfully made. Listen, you must understand this word, this Torah, by the Ruach HaKodesh of truth. Our people are where they are because of the choices that they continue to make. We want to stay in Babylon. We want to eat of her delicacies. Can't do it. Excuse me. You have to come out from among her and be separate. You have to receive the witness. The Ruach HaKodesh, water and the blood. Yahuah, I pray right now that the words you have given me to give to them, that they would keep this word, and that they would be established in the word. Yahuah, I pray that by the power of the Ruach HaKodesh, that quickens, that make us alive, that is which we are sealed by, that which is the earnest of our inheritance unto the purchased possession. I pray that this would be the leading force, the Ruach power that drives them to the end. Yahuah, let them not lean on their own understanding, but in all their ways acknowledge you to let you lead them and have you direct their path. Yahuah, I thank you. Yahuah, from this point on, I pray that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, Yahuah, my strength and my redeemer. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, called to greatness, woman of Yahuah, beautifully and wonderfully made there, you and favorite. You! Listen, go forth in the power of the witness of Yahuah and Yahusha and be established in his Torah of truth. For as many as are led by the Ruach HaKodesh, these are the sons of Yahuah, the daughters of Yahuah. And be led by Yahuah. Be that daughter. Be that son that brings Yahuah glory and stands tall in the witness of Yahuah. With that, I say, listen, man of Yah, woman for Yah. Shalom, 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 and be blessed. Torah Garden, speaking the absolute truth. Torah Nation.